little hoot. And now, from a lonely little corner of the Bronx.
I know that there are many Republicans in this chamber who are not ready to give up on democracy. But there are a group of radicals surrounding the president who have convinced him to operationalize a plan that is designed to try to crush political opposition and dissent in this country.
So, Senator Chris Murphy, a man whose paycheck I contribute to because, well, even though I'm a proud resident of the Bronx, I work in Connecticut and have to pay two state income taxes, stood on the Senate floor and said, the authoritarian takeover isn't coming. It's here. His speech should have come with popcorn and a warning label that said, may have caused democratic anxiety. It was like watching a fire marshal explain that, yeah, the building is on fire while half the crowd is asking if it's a controlled burn. But let's walk through his points one by one. 5 levers of power turned into control. Think of it as a democracy escape room. Only the room's on fire and the exit sign says, this way to Mar-a-Lago. First lever, the justice system, where law and order means an order from the boss. So remember James Comey, the FBI director who was fired in 2017 for not pledging loyalty to Trump? Yeah, that guy who looks like a civics textbook come to life and told you to sit straight up. Well, according to Murphy, the DOJ resisted indicting Comey on Trump's petty charges until Lindsay Halligan, Trump's own personal attorney, was appointed to the Eastern District of Virginia in 2025. Then, like magic, the indictment reappeared. That's not blind justice. That's justice wearing a MAGA hat and declaring your vacation property is being taken over for one of his golf courses. And experts like Princeton's Kim Lane Chappell, in her new book, and to answer the obvious question, yes, she does have a relative named Dave, call this autocratic legalism. It's when authoritarians don't break the law. They become it. Authoritarian legalism is what happens to democratic countries that start to backslide on those elements that make them true democracies. Number 1, they have to win free and fair elections. Number 2, capture the parliament or legislator. Number 3, capture the courts. Number 4, remove civil service protection to permit substitution of loyalists. Number 5, systematically dismantle checks on executive power. Number 6, fill independent positions with loyalists. Number 7, harness the media as an echo chamber. Number 8, defund and threaten the civil and political oppositions. Number 9, encourage private violence for people who criticize the government. And 10, rewrite the election laws. Never leave office. It's like Orban in Hungary or Erdogan in Turkey. They keep the robes, the seals, the formalities. They just swap out independence for obedience. And now, of course, you can say, every president appoints allies. Well, sure, but most presidents don't treat the DOJ like their personal grudge finder. We've gone from Department of Justice to Department of Vindictive Scrapbooking. Remember Trump on Truth Social calling for real accountability for traitors? Yeah, that's not law enforcement. That's influencer vigilantism. Second lever, the media, now streaming with censorship included.
You get to state-run media not necessarily through the state owning and operating media, but by the state using its regulatory powers, its control of licenses and mergers, to make clear to the billionaire class that they can own media, that they can make a lot of money off of media, but only if it propagates Trump's narrative and suppresses criticism.
Murphy points out that the president threatened to pull network licenses for jokes. Yeah, joke. According to the Washington Post in April 2025, CBS was formally warned after a segment mocked the president's hairline in his commander-in-chief golf score. Trump has made multiple legal threats and public attacks against satire and comedy shows, particularly those that mock or criticize him. Trump threatened to sue ABC for resuming Jimmy Kimmel after a suspension, claiming Kimmel's jokes were illegal campaign contributions to Democrats. Legal experts dismiss this, citing the media exemption in campaign finance law, which protects commentary and satire as free speech. But again, shows like The View and The Colbert Report reportedly face cancellation or pressure due to their satirical content about Trump. The FCC chairman has threatened sanctions against networks that don't discipline hosts for anti-Trump jokes. Critics argue this sets a dangerous precedent for censorship and undermines free speech protections. This is the first time in history a leader has attempted to weaponize the FCC because he didn't like being roasted.
And I keep whining and whining until I win. And I'm going to win for the country, and I'm going to make our country great again.
According to Columbia University's Tao Center for Digital Journalism, this is classic soft censorship. You don't ban people, you burden them. Legal fees, tax adjustments, license reviews. It's like death by paperwork committed by autocracy. The counter-argument is, oh, sure, it's just media accountability. Yeah. And the Patriot Act was just security enhancement. And funny how accountability always means third lever, militarized policing, or as Trump calls it, homeland security.
The third step in the plan is to militarize law enforcement. The deployment of the military to Chicago and to Portland to Los Angeles is illegal. It is illegal. But it is designed to try to, once again, quell dissent and protest. This isn't about public safety. This is about political intimidation.
Here's where it gets darkly funny. Murphy describes National Guard troops from Texas and Florida deployed into out-of-control blue states. Yeah, Chicago got Texas troops. Portland got Florida troops. And if that doesn't sound weird to you, imagine your ex's new flame showed up armed with an AK-47 to rappel down from a Black Hawk helicopter to chaperone your family reunion. In July 2025, Reuters confirmed that guardsmen were temporarily federalized to support urban order. Local mayors said they weren't consulted. This is the opposite of states' rights. It's states' rights with Uncle Sam's bullet off your butt. The White House claims it's about crime.
It's so crazy. It's like the movies you see for the kids, I guess not only the kids, adults also, where you have these bombed out cities and these bombed out people. It's like worse than that. I don't think they could make a movie as bad. And then the governor will get up and say, I don't know why they're coming here. It's such a wonderful place.
Okay. But these troops showed up to peaceful demonstrations about rent control. If crime means people with signs, you've got a police state with much better marketing. This is what Freedom House, an organization founded on the core conviction that freedom flourishes in democratic nations where governments are accountable to their people, calls executive overreach through securitization. Translation, you turn every problem into a huge terror threat so you can solve it with your authoritarian guns. Or as the late, great George Carlin would have said, the government loved you so much they'll bring the tanks in to hug you. Fourth lever, funding retaliation, aka fiscal revenge. The Brookings Institute documented that since 2025, government projects in blue states were delayed or terminated at 4 times the rate of red states. New York, California, Illinois took the biggest hits. For instance, The Hudson Tunnel Project, a $12 billion infrastructure deal that would provide better commutes, expanded labor market access, and improved productivity for travelers in the economic capital of the United States, was paused for review. Clean energy grants in California, cancel pending investigation. Solar release in Colorado, defunded entirely. And that's the administration saying it's about spending responsibility. Sure. And my dog pauses for review every time he pees on someone else's property. This is what political scientists call targeted federalism. Use money like a whip. And why? Because if you cut the money, you cut the message. No budget, no resistance. Now, you might think that blue states have enough money as it is. Cool. So your solution is to stop funding infrastructure because of people who voted for the other guy? That's not policy. It's revenge. Fifth lever, election engineering. Because if you can't win, rig the map.
And then the fifth part of the plan is to rig the rules when the rules don't work for you. This is happening in the way that President Trump is going state by state and demanding that congressional lines be redrawn.
Murphy points to states like Georgia, Texas, and Ohio being encouraged to redraw maps mid-cycle. In fact, the Brennan Center for Justice reported that unscheduled redistricting initiatives in 5 states were, quote, coordinated through the White House Elections Task Force. That's like the NFL commissioner saying, in mid-season, we're going to move the goalposts. You get that, right? In Texas, a Dallas-based district that voted 52% Democratic was sliced into 3 rural-leaning ones. In Georgia, a Black-majority Atlanta district was redrawn to connect suburbs 2 hours away. That's not a district. That's gerrymandering with a GPS malfunction. The administration calls it representational alignment. And if a burglar broke into Mar-a-Lago and stole Trump's best golf clubs, he could use that logic in his defense. I stole nothing, Your Honor. It was simply unauthorized asset transfer. Look, once you control the maps, you control the outcome. You don't need to cancel elections. You just need to make winning impossible. Murphy says, these 5 moves, they're not random. They're strategic. And he's right. This isn't chaos. It's a blueprint. The same one Orban used, the same one perfected by Erdogan, the same one Putin would use if he was into interior design. And sure, someone always says, look, this is America. We're different. And we are. We're bigger, we're louder, and we're fighting our democratic decline with memes. But here's the thing. The Carnegie Endowment points out, all declines start with normalization. You don't notice the fire if you call it patio lighting.
But think about how we will feel if this 250-year democratic experiment disappears on our watch, and we didn't do all we could as a body and as a citizenry, simply because we didn't want to face the hard reality. The authoritarian takeover isn't coming, it's here.
So yeah, Murphy's right. We're in it. And the question is, are we going to laugh our way out or sleep our way through? Because if you lose your right to freely speak your mind, you've already lost the rest. So keep watching, keep reading, keep mocking. Democracy may die in darkness, but your voice can put the lights back on.
A little hoot!